Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to work on a really pretty pair of earrings using beads from our bargain bead box, Woodland Whimsy. Let's turn down and I'll show you what we're going to do. So here are our items. These wires are Softlex Craft Wire Square, copper in 18 gauge, and I have 7 inches, 2 pieces of 7 inches. I also have my spool of copper chain. We're going to put that down around the bottom. We have some eye pins. And what we're going to do, we should have 4 eye pins here. I think I do. And I have a couple of head pins. The head pins, what I'm going to do is, this is a trick I do all the time. These are 3-inch head pins. I don't want head pins, I want some wire. And I could just get some wire out, but these work great. I just cut these heads off. Now those aren't ball head pins, those are regular head pins, and I rarely ever use those. So this works fine to make them into some little pieces of wire. So what we're going to do here is one of these big ones will be at the top on this or on these wires, and they will be hooking it into the ear wire when we get up to that point. Then I have, do I have 5? Yeah, I do have 6. Okay, so these are for the sides of our earrings, 2 of them, and actually I'm going to just start splitting this stuff apart so we can just make one earring at a time. So these are to hold the sides together, and then one of them is for putting a dangle on, which I don't really have to do. I can hardwire it in, which I just may end up doing. So then we have a dangle in the middle, which is this guy. No, I did this wrong. These are going to be down at the bottom. This is our middle piece up here. So we have, what we're going to do is take one of these and one of these to make a bottom dangle. We use one of the head pins for those. And then we're going to make a middle dangle from that goes in the middle of our strand with these beads like this. So this will go like here with a daisy spacer, a vermillion bead, a daisy spacer, and our little cream rondelle. Now this is going to be a dangle in the middle of our earring. Then this piece, like I say, let's get you guys over here, is going to be the small autumn jasper, the daisy spacer, and then I think this is actually unakite. So then that'll go at the bottom. So we'll sit those like that. But what we need to start with is to make what is our square wires. So what we're going to do is we're going to, oh, I should have had 4 of these. I'll have to cut some more in a bit, or right now, as the case may be. So I need 7-inch pieces. So let's get 2 more 7-inch pieces out, because I need 2 for each earring. Should have thought of that when I was cutting it in the first place. Oop, don't spit off like that. Stay up there. I am more used to using German style wire than craft wire, so I'm not real used to this wire, so it behaves a little bit different because it's softer than German style, so it wants to wiggle around a lot more, and that's okay. We're going to work hard on it when we get to that point. I just have to remember that it's going to try to wiggle around on me and behave and treat it just a little bit different than you do with the other wire. So okay, there's our wires. Now we can put this back away. Now I got 7 inches because I'm going to be doing the double loops on either side of these, and that takes about 2 inches, and then I want about 1 inch, and then I need to do our loop. So the loop at the top probably is going to take about 1 inch. So we want to find the middle, which is 3.5 inches right here. And I think I'll just make a little mark on that. And I may do it with all of them when I'm doing this. Normally I just get my pliers out and I don't bother with a mark, but I am going to for this set. Okay, so now we have those marked at 3.5. So what we need to do is take our pliers, and I'm going to use the smaller of these, and we're just going to put the pliers right on that mark and then bring them around like so. And we'll do that to all 4 of them while we're doing this. So now that we've got that done, we want to make sure that all of our wires are about the same length still. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to take one of these other ones, and we're going to compare. So we'll just put one beside the other. You can see this one's got slightly longer, so we're going to cut that little bit longer off. Do the same on the other side, and it's fine. So now we'll take this one and compare it with the other two. The one thing I should do is to check the length of these pieces too. Not only to each other, but to rule them. See, this one's still, again, just a teeny bit bigger. And that could have been in the initial cut too. This one is close enough. Then we're going to check the last one. Then the last thing we'll do here before we start getting bendy with these is we're going to check the actual length of the bars, because we do want those to be the same also from side to side. Ooh, this one's got quite a bit more. This one's this, and I'm wondering if this is one of the original ones I'm cutting. So anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to get our ruler back out, and we're going to see if both of these sides are the same length still. So this one is, well, that bend is right at 3.5. How, well, was it 3.5 or 3 1/4? Oh, it's 3 1/4. And that's 3 1/4. 3 1/4. 3 1/4. They should all be, but you never can tell. Best to check. See, this one looks like it's a touch longer. I may cut just a teensy weensy bit off the end here. That looks better. Okay, next step. Get out our wire mandrel. We want to go to about the 3rd one. And we want to bend these around. And when you get to this point, it's going to look sort of like a hairpin kind of thing. So again, get 3 and bend it around. And I think I went up too high because I think we want this one. So two of them. And number 4. Now these should all be about the same. See? They all look pretty good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn double loops at the bottom of both of the sides of our wire piece here. So what we're going to do that is we're going to get both of these, my bigger ones and my smaller ones. Now if you wanted to, you could use a stepped one here. I'm going to take is this one. We're going to, this is a little bit wonky here. Got to straighten it some. And we're going to bend this over and into the inside till they touch. Do the same with the other side. So see, we got 2 of them the same here. Now we're going to take our bigger bill, and you can make as big a loop as you want, but what we're going to do is we put this in here. I think I'm going to use the big side. And you roll it over here till it touches its buddy here, its other wire. Then you do the same on this side. Put the smaller side beside the roll and the ring here that you've already got made, see, like so, and then bring this around to here. And now we want to do that with the other 4 as well. Now this is going to make for a long earring. If you don't want the earring to be so long, and frankly I'm thinking we don't want it to be so long, so I'm going to cut, about a 1/2 inch off each side. Now I'm taking the piece I already cut off, putting it over here with this one. Lining it up. And then I'm going to cut the same amount off on this side. Okay. Oops, I got this one a little sharp there, so we need to take this one off just a touch more too. Then we're going to take one of these other ones, and we're going to cut it to match, because this is for the other earring. So we'll put this over here with this one. So now that we've got that done, we want to do the same thing on this one that we did on this one. So we'll take this, I believe it was the smaller of the two that I used, or was it the bigger? It was the bigger. So we'll take the bigger one and roll our wire into the middle. Do the same with the other side. Now we want to take our large one, but the smaller side of the large one up to the wire and bend her around. There's our second bunch of loop. What this is going to do is now hook here like so, and then this one will dangle in the middle. We're going to bring some chain in to do down here, and then we will, you know, I think this one, I think this is going to be too long. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut this one again to match this other one that we'd already cut the extra length off of. And then I'm going to unwrap these. Now you have to be careful with this, because when you do this, because it is going to put bends in your wire. And that's all right, because I'm going to show you how to straighten that to a degree. You won't need to straighten it entirely, because we're not going to re-wrap them, but we're just going to wrap them with this piece cut off. So get these so they are in a length that you can cut them, and instead of using the other piece, we're going to find one of the ones we cut off, because they are definitely the length we want cut. So, and these are bent, so we don't want to cut the wrong length. Oops, turn this around. You want the square part to go cut. Do the same with this side. Now this side's a little wavy, so I'm going to try and get a little bit of the wave out so that we're cutting the more equal amount. So take your flat nose pliers, go over your wavy spot, and just squish it. See how it's straightened out quite a bit? So now I'm going to take another one of these pieces again. I'm going to bring her up here, and then we're going to get our clippers and clip this off, or flush cutters. Okay, now that we've got those little pieces off, I want to straighten this a bit so that it's easier to bend the way I want it. So just take your flat nose pliers and just now you can do this to a degree with your fingers, but it works much better with your flat nose pliers. Or you could use your nylon jaw pliers probably, but the flat does a better job. Especially when you're using square wire. If you're using round wire, you might mangle your wire a little bit if you use these, but not a lot really. Though you will notice I've got little notches along the edge here. That's not going to show so much when we actually do the wraps. So now we'll take this and go into the middle again. That has a weird notch on the bottom of it. Now again with the bigger ones, put them right there beside and bend it up. There we go. Now this is going to sit like so. We're going to jump ring it together here. This will come down here. Oop, come here you. Go into your proper spot. This will go here. This will come down here. We're going to put it on a little chain so it dangles more in the middle. And then we're going to take and chain from here to here, and then from here up to here, and that will be our ear. And then this will come up here to hook it up to our earwire. So that'll be our earring. And as you can see, I shortened our earring by cutting off some pieces. If you want to shorten it some more, you could cut off more. However, I've got to warn you, don't cut off too much or you'll be way up here by the notch. It takes about 2 inches to make one of these loops. So while we're working on the loops, let's get the other loops turned. I want to do them all at once because we're going to work harden them, and then we're going to flatten them somewhat. I love a flat square wire. So we wrap it with the bigger one going to the middle, both sides. Oh, this is squared this way. Okay. When you're working with square wire, it sometimes likes to turn, and when you are doing this, you need to make sure that if you're working with it, that you're turning to the right way. With a round wire, of course, it doesn't make any difference because it's going to be round all the way around. So here's our squares. As you can see, one side looks a little longer than the other, so we'll just pull it up like that some. Same with this one. Though that did put a weird wonk at this one. I think it needs to... Yeah, we'll worry about it after we get the last of it done. So now we're going to do our outer edges here on this one. So put the, like so, pull it around. And if you need to take your pliers out to finish, go for it. It's not like it's going to be a truly horrible thing if you have to do that. Okay. Now again, the small side beside the loop, bring her around. And there's our second one. Now I am going to get the I'm going to get my block out now, so it's going to get a little loud. So here is our steel block. We're going to pound all of these, and we're going to use our chasing hammer to do it, so they'll flatten some. So just choose one, doesn't matter which one, and start pounding. Now these will go out of shape some as you pound, so you will have to reshape them somewhat after you're done. One. Now you'll notice as we hammer these that the copper gets a little more dull. So don't worry about that when that happens. It's natural. Oops, come back here, you. Now see how this one is different shaped now? Gonna need to do a little maneuvering with them, and that's fine. We'll get to that as soon as we finish hammering all 4 pieces. Now, if you don't like the hammered look with it being a little more dull, you don't have to hammer them. I just like to hammer them. I like the look of the flattened wire is why. I think it gives it a little bit of a different okay. Put our block away. That little sucker's heavy. Now we're going to check our things and see how much of changes we have to make. For instance, see this one is out a little bit from the base, so we need to turn it in some. Same with this side. So is this one right here. Now we need to compare them. They look pretty good. Bing. So that's what we've got those. Now let's work on this set. As like the rest, this one has come away from the side some. So okay, this one is not quite as close. And how much are you guys to this side? They want to be the same because, let's face it, we want them to be pretty close to each other. Okay, we're done with these, so let's set that aside. We want these back down here. Excuse me. We're going to jump ring these two pieces together. And actually, the more I think about it, I'm thinking maybe I should double jump ring those. So I will get out my little copper ones and we'll get a few more out. So the first thing I want to do is, weirdly enough, I want to jump ring these two pieces together. Oops, I just dropped my wire mandrel, and I better find that because I think it went into my trash can. It did. Don't want to throw it away accidentally. Even though I do have an extra set, I don't want to be without them. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook these two pieces together right now. So how we're going to do that is we're going to take jump rings, and these should be big enough for both wires. Open up our baby jump ring, grab one of our bars, put it through, grab the other side and put it through. Now, because these are two separate pieces like this, I have decided I am going to double jump ring them to make sure that they have strength, plenty of strength to hold the two pieces together. So I'm just going to see, you've just got the two jump rings on there, and this one's not quite closed. There we go. Now we'll double jump ring the other side. Now you can just fold these like this when you do your jump rings if you want to. And then you can unfold them after you get the pieces put in place. There we go. So now we will wrap this baby up and put it here. Why we're going to do that one next is because then we need to put our chain on that dangles, but I won't know how far I need to cut it until this dangle is in place. So because I'm going to hardwire this guy, just going to do a fold. Then I'm going to get my stepped bell making pliers, and I'm going to use the second one. Actually, no, I don't need the second one for this piece. I do for the piece up here if I jump ring it directly in, but that one's probably going to have a little chain hanging. So it can go with the smaller because I only have one wire to go over. If I had to go over both wires, I would want to go to the bigger one. Oops, I forgot to leave a gap to open them so it can go in. There we go. So now we want this to go onto this bottom piece. So put that like that. And grab hold of our wires. Now remember, as you're wrapping, you've got to avoid your base pieces here. So try and get them out of your way as much as possible so they're not going to come down and try and get in your way. I'm going to cut the excess off. And then I'm going to tuck this baby in. There we go. And that's hanging pretty straight, so that's good. Now I should have had, I'll just grab these two. We're going to take our chain now, and we want it to dangle sort of like this. And this is going to go on with jump rings. Ooh, do I have any Tinky Tots of this color? I don't think I do. So we're going to probably have to use these ones. So it's going to go on. It's got to have a space for our jump ring, and then we want it to go like so. So let's just cut this right here. And I need 4 pieces like this because these are going to go from here to here, here to here, and I'll need some for this side as well. So I usually do this with my awl rather than my bead reamer so that I don't damage my bead reamer. So I put these on my awl, bring them down like so I can see where they end, and then cut. And we need 4 of these, so I think I cut that one too small. So since they're not that much different, let's check the other one. And if I do have it too small, we'll cut these others to match it. Come on, you go right. I do. So we'll cut off, because we have the jump ring giving us quite a bit of space. It's not that big of a deal to take one more link off. Now, if it was a lot of links, that would make a big difference, but it's only one. There we go. Okie dokie. We will need a teeny bit more chain for hooking in this one, because it's not going to go directly up at the top. I want it to hang sort of in the middle like so. So it will need probably about 4 or 5 links of chain. But we'll worry about that when we get to that portion, which will be next. So we'll take our jump rings. Got little bits of chain all over the place here now. And open up each one. Put a chain on. And it doesn't matter which way you start with, whether it's this side or the other side. You just gonna have to put on both sides. So come on, you. Stop tangling up. we'll take our next jump ring. We'll get in the other side of the chain. And we'll bring it up to here. Now see how that chain dangles like that? It actually is probably better than it would have been with the other link in it. Now we're going to put the other side's chain on. And again, you can do it from this side first or the other side first. It doesn't make any difference. Oops, that's not closed all the way. I try to make sure I always have my jump rings closed all the way. It's actually one of my pet peeves when they're not closed. When I see other people's things that aren't closed, I always want to say, oh, your jump ring's not closed. Close your jump ring. Though, you know, I don't. It's not my position. Now when you put these on at the bottom, you've got to make sure that get one on either side of your bead strand so that the bead strand isn't stuck in the middle of it. So there is what the bottom part looks like now. Now we want to put in the top part. So we're going to wrap this baby up. Not all the way, because we want to put the chain in, and we're going to do that by just doing it like you normally would. Leave a gap here, and we'll grab the end of our chain here and put it on here. Then I'm going to wrap it up now because I've got the chain in, and even though I haven't cut the chain, I'm at the end of the chain, so it won't make any difference. I'll show you what we're going to do. So as soon as I have this baby wrapped up, because I need to know its length and how big of a chain I wanted, that's why I left it attached. Cut this off and tuck it in. Okay, now that that's done, this is when we're going to decide how much chain we need, because we want to know how many links is going to bring it to right here. And it looks like we want to cut it at, well, remember we're going to have a jump ring going over the top of that too. So about right here. I don't think I got the right spot. So looks like about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to cut on 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cut 6. Okay. Now we know we want 5 links for the other side too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And cut on 6. So there's the piece for upper piece. So now we need another jump ring to put this guy on here. Now I've got some extra jump rings over here, so I'll just grab one of them. And I think this one will well, it went over two down on to put them together, so two should be fine. So we'll open this up, grab our chain here, and put her through both these loops. Now this one is going to be a little more tricky to do because it's not going to want to stay where you want it to close your loop up. So now if you're wondering what I'm doing, I've got both sides, they're not quite meeting, so I am working them carefully back together again. So there is our, oops, we're a little crooked here. We need to straighten that. Dangle in the center, right where I wanted it. And now we need to put this guy up here to hold our ear wire. Now if you don't want it this long, you could just put jump rings here, but you still need double jump rings if you want it to face forward. Otherwise it's going to go to the side. So what we're going to do now is we take this piece of wire that we cut the head off of the head pin, and we bend it over about not quite halfway, and use our bell making pliers, and we're going to make a wrapped loop here, but first we're going to put this guy through the loop. And again, we're going to have one of those, oh, this is fun, everything wants to get in my way. So go over there. Keeps trying to wrap on itself. Now, because this is got to hang, we want it to hang to the front. We want our ear wire to go on this direction so that it is opposite to the way that one goes there. So we pull it this way. Where did I do with my, there they are. And then we will up and around and over, down, center it, leave a gap, which I have got done, and it's a little bit off sides here to its buddy back down there, so there we go. And now we want to feed our ear wire on. Now I don't have any copper ear lever backs, so I just used a stainless steel. Actually, this would have looked good with a post too. If I'd had a copper post, that would have worked as well. Okay, cut this excess off and tuck her in. Get her all straightened up. See, are you straight, baby? Yep. There she goes. Now this is another one of those really long earrings. This would also make a pretty pendant, I think. But this is another one of those really long earrings. It's going to hit your shoulders. If you don't want it that long, like I say, you can leave off this one. Just put jump rings. You could make these a little bit smaller. I did make them smaller, as you noticed, so I cut off... Oh, did I throw those wires away? I think I threw them away. I was going to say how much I cut off, but I threw them away, so I don't know for sure. I think I cut off probably about a little over 1/4 inch on either side. It might have been like 3/8. So this is the finished one. Now we will go to work on the second. Okay, so we're going to put this together just like the other one. So I'm probably going to fast forward a bit so that we won't be taking up all the time. But of course, we're going to start by hooking these together, putting on this dangle, putting on the chains, putting on the upper dangle, and then the green bead and the ear wire, so that we get those made. But like I say, I'm going to probably fast forward through this earring since you've seen me do the whole of it over here. But since I don't like to just do one off screen, I will fast forward this one. So we're just going to do this one exactly like this one. So let's get to work. Go. There are our two pair of earrings. Our two earrings from the components I made and the beads from Bargain Bead Box. Aren't those pretty? I really like how these turned out. I think they're pretty stunning. Now they are, like I say, a shoulder duster. And if you wanted them shorter, there are a few places. I would say the easiest place to take some out would be here. At the bottom here of both of our rungs. I wouldn't take too much off the top or you'll have your loops way up on top. So, yeah, I like them. So anyway, here are our earrings. Didn't they turn out pretty? I really like them, though they are pretty long. As you can see, they're pretty, they go to at least my shoulders. And that's fine by me. Some people probably wouldn't like that long of an earring. I love that long of an earring. Now, if you wanted them shorter, like I said, there are a few places to do that. If you'll recall, in the 7 inches of wire I did cut off probably anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to an inch. So I'd say go with 6, and if you wanted them a little shorter yet, you might be able to go a little, but I would take the space out of right here in this bar if you're going to. And if you didn't want this, you could just take this off and then that would leave that much gone. Still make it a little shorter. You could leave this bead off and it would make it shorter. But anyway, many ways to make it shorter, but I like it as it is. Because I'm a long dangle person. So there's our earrings. These are made from beads from Bargain Bead Box's Woodland Whimsy. And of course, we made the component ourselves, or I did. Yeah, Woodland Whimsy. So, this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.